is going on, everyone? Good morning. It's Johnny here with TraderX, and I'm here to do another daily recap. So as you guys can tell from the thumbnail, it was another red day today. So unfortunately, I have been on a little red streak this week, and I do have 2 days left. President's Day was Monday, so I wasn't able to trade. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. So this morning I was taking a look at the ticker symbol SKIN, skin. And right after this green bar, when it pulled back here, I was hesitating getting in. You guys know I typically like to give a 2.5% risk management on every trade, and I felt like getting in right around there wouldn't leave me enough room if this did try to flush down before it started to pop. So that's why I hesitated getting in there, but I should have seen the increase in volume and the fact that the indicators were starting to curl up in its favor. So if I were to have gotten into that, that would have been a nice little 7% green trade potential, right? Obviously, I wouldn't have known where the top was, so I can't say if I would have sold up here or not, but yeah, based off the pattern itself, I did like the setup. There's momentum going for it. If you guys take a look at one of the top scanners, it is going to be like number 4 or 5 on the list, so that's pretty attractive. The stock I ended up trading today that I took 2 trades on and both were losses was ticker symbol INDO here. So the reason why I decided to even trade this was yesterday, as you guys can see over here, this thing really went off. So it once it crossed the middle VWAP and pulled back to right around the middle VWAP, it was able to validate the EMA line as a support and continue to make higher highs and higher lows, right? And this was a 45% push yesterday before it pulls back and ultimately goes on another rip, right, of almost 40%. So that's I just thought there were going to be a lot of eyes on this stock today and more momentum, but on the other perspective, I should have seen that it was definitely more on the overbought side, right? This is the past 180 days, and it's not the best deal in these levels. So lots of resistance levels that have caused this thing to pull back. So I shouldn't have been too surprised when it came to this thing deciding to flush down instead of push up. But if you guys want to see where I bought and sold, let me try to apply that for you here. So the first trade I took was this morning. You can see at 6:33 I got in at 7.89 and stopped out at 7.69. So on this makes it a little hard to see. I'm going to take it off. You can pause that if you wanted to see the trades, but I'm going to go ahead and take that off just to make it a little easier to see. So yeah, I got filled at 6:33 at 7.89, and then so if we zoom on over here, 6:33 would have been this candle right here. So I saw this thing pick up, pull back, go. I saw this thing pull back, and I decided to send it when it was right around these lower levels, right? So I sent it, it ended up picking up almost 4%. So I must have been up like $100 on the trade before it decided to flush down. Flushed me out, stopped me around a $65 loss, so I stopped out at 7.69 here. And my second trade was almost right after that at 6.35 at practically the same prices, just a penny less. So I ended up getting back in here. The reason why I decided to get back in and why it was probably a mistake was this thing pushed, and then when I got in here and it stopped me out, I should have realized that the momentum isn't looking the best for this thing to continue to pick up. It can find a support on the middle of VWAP in the EMA line, which I was kind of hoping it would do, but the problem with where I got in twice in a row was the fact that I didn't give myself enough room for this thing to fall and potentially flush me out before it kept going. So what I mean is I got in around these levels, right? 7.89. I always give up 2.5% per trade, so this thing literally where I ended up having to cut losses is not a good area because these are critical support areas, right? Like other traders use these indicators, so obviously it would make sense that a lot of people are looking at this type of setup and are thinking, can this thing hold as a support? So the fact that I'm stopping out right where everyone thinks it could potentially form a critical support area is where I continue to go wrong on this trade, and actually with this week, right? I'm not giving myself enough cushion from where I buy in to where it can fall comfortably. If you guys remember a trade I took yesterday, I believe, yeah, on INDO, I got in around these levels before it actually started to push up, but I sold out in fear of the momentum not being there. So sometimes you just gotta let a trade ride out, but as long as it's a smart trade, right? So these weren't the smartest because, like I said, the critical support area was where my stop was, and that really doesn't make any sense at all. If you're not in a where you want to be, it wouldn't be the worst idea to get out, and I think that's what I need to work on more. But on the bright side, I have been seeing the momentum pick up this week in terms of these types of stocks, and so it's definitely exciting because all of January and beginning of February it was pretty slow. There wasn't much going on in the mornings, but there has been a lot of movement these past few days, which is very exciting. Other than that, I did want to update you guys on the NASDAQ. It is currently trying to sell off a bit, right? And if we look at it on the bigger time frame, it shouldn't really surprise us, right? So once this thing curled back up, I called it out yesterday that it obviously can continue to fall because on the bigger time frames, it's still pretty overbought, right? And with all the news going on with Ukraine, inflation, it's not helping. All of these news articles that keep getting posted, they're definitely not helping the market. They're kind of putting people in a more fearful mood. And so, yeah, what I would like to see for it is for it to start to make higher highs and higher lows, right? But I personally don't see that happening anytime soon, just because of the news going on, like I mentioned. But yeah, just keep in mind that the SMA line is acting as a support. As a resistance level for this for the NQ future. So once this thing were to pick up around these levels, don't automatically think that it's gonna start to recover, right? Because it has been getting rejected around this SMA line, and it can continue to do so. It hasn't showed any signs otherwise, but yeah, I did want to keep you guys posted on that. And in terms of my Facebook position, you guys know I'm stopping out at 197. I only have 5 shares in, but once this thing starts to confirm more of an uptrend pattern where it's doing the exact opposite of getting rejected by the EMA line constantly and starts to ride it up, Ali will definitely feel comfortable getting in with 20 more shares, 25 more shares. Right now it's just with the amount I'm in, I'm comfortable with it going south and losing a specific dollar amount. So always, before you go into any trade, any swing trade, any day trade, just remember to have a plan set where you plan on getting in, where you plan on cutting losses. Cutting losses is super important because you're in control of how much you're giving back, right? Before, when I wasn't using stop losses, there'd be days where I'd lose, like in day trading, it could have been hundreds, right? There were obviously days where I made decent money, but I just felt like setting a stop is the proper thing to do because it takes away the emotional aspect of needing to cut losses. It does it for you, and I just find that very beneficial in the long run. But yeah, that has pretty much been another daily recap, and I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. I hope you guys did amazing today. Hope you guys all had great days, and yeah, I'll do my best to not end red tomorrow and Friday. Try to finish off the week good heading into the weekend. But yeah, this has been another day trading recap, and I wish you guys the best.